that I want to thank some people that really got involved in this deal. The water line is on the opposite side of the road at the Simcoe project. And we all met up there one morning and identified where the line was at. And there was some question about who was going to run the water line across the road. You know, according to our policies at Phipps Bend, all the utilities companies that are involved, Houston Electric and Gas Company and Surgoinsville Water and whoever else, we run that particular product to the property line. Then it's up to that industry that's running on into their building. In this case, it was on the opposite side of the road, and there was an issue about the high cost of that and drilling the road and all this stuff. And I want to thank Patrick Lund for stepping up and drilling it. And Jeremy Jones has been invaluable as far as doing a lot of the work and design and everything to get the water onto the other side of the road. And my understanding is it's all hooked up and ready to go. It's a 4-inch water main, and without those two folks, I don't know where we'd be. But the bills have been paid. The Phipps Bend joint venture went ahead and paid for the material rather than have a argument over that. So we're ready now, and I guess, Calvin, you need to talk a little bit about where we're at. I know one of the last things that we as a group have agreed that we would maintain the road up to the water tank. There's 750 gallon water tank up there that feeds all the park, and the road is out of disrepair, and so I know Kerry had took care of getting the gravel, and our fellow Joel has got it all smoothed out and we're ready to go on it. And so we had a conference call yesterday with Jason, with Calvin Group, and remind us when those bids are due and all the work that's going to go on up there.
There's two separate projects. There's the tank rehab project that will make some improvements to the tank and painting the tank inside and out. And then the second part is some water line improvements that will extend some lines and put in some new valves so they can isolate that system in the event of a water break. Those bids will open Monday, May 1st. I think they open at 2 o'clock, and we'll do that at the Surgoinsville Utility Office there in Surgoinsville. And Jason is issuing a addendum to that bid today to address some of the concerns about service outages and trying to minimize the amount of time that service will be interrupted to the utility customers down there. And we're also looking at the possibility of doing a different type of valve that could be put in with the water system intact. In other words, the water system wouldn't have to be shut down. Unfortunately, that's a very expensive proposition to, it's called an insertion valve. We see those fairly often. But we're looking at doing that, and once we open the bids, we can talk to the contractor and see what it would cost if we used an insertion valve versus shutting down the system and cutting in a new valve. So he put that addendum out earlier this morning, and we've had good interest in the project. We have several contractors that have requested plans, so we're optimistic that we'll get a good bid. And that's really about all I have to report right now.
Well, that's good. We, as you know, we were instrumental in helping Surgoinsville Utility District to obtain funds from several different sources for both these projects, and hopefully it won't be a burden on the Surgoinsville Utility District to get this done. We appreciate the help that Matt and Craig has given Surgoinsville Utility on getting this project put together.
I will say this, we will also be managing the project and providing the inspection services during the project. So
Good.
That's part of our contract.
Right. One of the issues that we got to thinking about is like, you know, when the electricity's off, and the gas is off, it impacts the industry. And so it'd be the same way with water. So we asked Rebecca if she would come to all the industries and try to come up with a good time, because from what we could gather from talking with Jason, you can have as much as 8 to 12 hour outage. And obviously the weekend's gonna be the best time to do it, but anytime you do something on the weekend, the price tag goes up. So, we're evaluating that at this time and seeing, you know, what would be the best time for the industry. Some of the industry said that, you know, if you turn the water off, we gotta go home. Our production process uses water. And so, that's a different thing than maybe just, having potable water for the bathrooms or something like that. You can go ahead and operate, you know, just knowing what you're dealing with. But, so Jason is taking all that into consideration in this addendum to the bid process. So hopefully on May the 1st, we'll know, you know, what we're dealing with and what's involved. But, there could be a fairly substantial outage. Only 8 to 12 hours is a pretty good chunk of time. And so it may be that you schedule it during some of the industries up there for various maintenance reasons and things, to schedule outage time for like a week. They shut down everything. And so we want to sit down and look at each of those individually so we can have the least adverse impact on, and then Rebecca's gonna let them all know what we're doing and why we're doing it, because this is all serving the advantage of the industry there, so you don't have another major outage up there that shuts down everything. So we appreciate the work, like I say, that has been done on all this, and I think we're ready to go on our part. We're just looking forward to opening the bids and getting something that's, will work with the grant money that we've been able to obtain. Another thing that's come up, anytime we've got certain variants, we don't need a variance, we've got certain requirements of industry in Phipps Bend that they have to do. They can only build so close to the road, they gotta leave certain utility easements and different things like that. One of the things that we require is that the utilities come in from the side or the back. In Simcoe's situation, we had to run the electric line in from the right front of the building. It's not a bad situation. We didn't think, and the Phipps Bend joint venture, at their last meeting, approved a variance for them to run that in from the building. So today, this board needs to take that issue up. Jimmy might could address that more than I could. There was a reason, I'm assuming, this property sits right on a creek bed, I guess, and a lot of trees and everything. So we came in the front of the building. I guess we had thought about that years ago, probably, but
I think that's just the closest point where their name was.
yeah.
You know, they always want to keep their low voltage cables, the secondaries that go in the building as short as possible. So it would have been practical to put it on the other side of the building and then transverse across the facility to their mains.
Right. So anyway, I need a motion and to approve the variance for the way we came in.
Second. I'll second.
Motion, 2 or 3 seconds. Everyone understand what we're voting on? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? So moved. On that same, talking about electricity, we've met and talked on 2 or 3 occasions. TVA is rebuilding the 161 line that feeds Houston Electric substation up there. And they're building it outside the current easement. And they varied a little bit on the way they're coming into it, and we were concerned about it, but the guy that we were dealing with, the TDA, said, well, I'm gonna be up there tomorrow from Chattanooga, we'll just look at it. And so when they veered just the least bit west, it impacted maybe 4 or 5 acres of ground, but the 4 or 5 acres was pretty much wet all the time anyway. So it really, I guess in the eyes of everybody, it didn't have no impact on the park or the ground that is involved in that thing. And so I'm assuming today we would need to authorize TVA and easement for that 161 kV line. And then when the project is completed, they will issue back to us canceling the old easement, which is right parallel with it most of the way anyway. Did I make myself halfway clear on that? We're issuing a new easement for a new line coming in to feed the Phipps Bend substation from the big 500 161 station at the back of the park.
I move, we'll give TVA the easement.
And then we'll get back an equal amount of property, and so there's no money that's switching hands here. It's just simply we're issuing them a new easement, then they'll return the old easement to us, cancel that. So I got a motion, and Phil seconded it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. At our last meeting, we found out that we had to have a budget presented to the county commission by, March, it's like a day or so. And so the executive committee met, and we went through and talked about all items in our budget. There's not a whole lot of items in our budget that goes to county commission, and we agreed upon one that would be sent out. And then we sent a copy to all the board members for you all to look over, and if you had any comments or anything, to get back with us. And we really didn't have a lot of interest in changing anything that we had proposed. So I guess today we need a vote on the official budget that was presented to the county commission. Now, and they're gonna have a budget hearing, and we'll have to go either, they'll sign us a time and date, either May the 10th or May the 11th to take up the budget and see if they approve it. We really, Carrie, you, Patrick, remember any of the, we didn't change a whole lot of anything.
Not much.
No.
I think we had some contract services, a couple of those that changed. The biggest new item was a request for gravel, where we've got a lot of the service roads that haven't had any for years. I think we had about 5,000 for that. What else, Patrick? What do you remember?
Not much. I think where we were underspending on stuff, we just agreed to either leave it or reduce it. So the overall increase was very minimal, really, yeah.
We didn't ask for anything other than that
No.
additional gravel.
Yeah.
That I recall. We changed a few things around, but basically.
Yeah, it was a very minimal increase at all.
Very minimal increase, so hopefully they'll fund it and we'll move on.
What's the total budget gonna be for this next year?
That I don't know, because the county mayor's office has to fill in certain amounts of different line items themselves. And so we'll probably know more when we go to the budget hearing.
Yeah, everything to do with Rebecca's pay, insurance, retirement, all that is handled by the county. So we don't touch those numbers.
This is a budget request, not actually what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
We'll see if they cut our knees out from under us.
This is very minimal amount of money. I mean, they basically fund our office equipment and supplies.
my salary.
and pay her salary. Otherwise, host an elected TVA through the RETA pay for the travel and lots of other incendiary things that we use.
You need a motion that says this to go on further with the act.
I just
I'll
need
make
an
a motion.
official vote on the budget, since we had to get it done before we could get a board meeting, so.
We'll need a motion in a second.
Need a motion.
I'll second it.
To approve the budget that was mailed to the, commission. So I got a motion from Glenn, and got a second from,
No, I'll second it. I thought he already had a
oh,
motion.
Phil made, okay. Okay, everyone understand what you're voting on? You got a copy of it in your email. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, so moved. Simcoe has already had a job fair up there, and I know that Homeland Bound also have one. And we understand they got pretty good participation. We're real anxious to see them hiring. And I think the last time I was in their facility up there, they were moving along very quickly, and the statement was made that now you will be up by the end of May, first of June, running, so,
Some production.
so everything seems to be going very well with that, and we've been assisting them when they run into issues, they don't mind asking for things, so, it keeps you busy. That's it.
The chamber.
Okay. Anybody wants to play in the Rogersville Hawkins County Chamber of Commerce golf tournament, we usually sponsor a team or something in that regard.
They
Seats,
should be able to do that.
I'm not gonna participate this year. It looks as if, what is this thing?
The date of 13.
That's a better dude.
So if you're interested in playing on a team or something, just let me know.
I'll do that. Let's see, Charles, anything going on with TCAP that's worth noting?
Well, yeah, a couple of things I want to make note of, and I'm glad Representative Hicks is here today because we graduated our first truck driving class, and they all passed the test with flying colors, and they've all gone to work. We're going to have one that's owner-operator, and they're all employed. They had jobs waiting on them.
Yeah.
So we're tickled with that, and looking forward, we've got our next class starting May the 3rd. It's full. We've got another one in July. It's full. And I've got a lot of people even signed up for the fall already. We're gaining momentum with that. That's a comment I made this morning to the folks up there. So I'm tickled to death with it. I really am. And the other thing is we have just done the Skills USA competition in Chattanooga. I had several students out of the school up there win medals. Had one state champion in electricity. Had another one win a silver medal in electricity. Our electrical department specifically did well. And then had a team out of welding win some medals. So I was glad about that. So that is a pretty big deal. I mean, there's only one state champion in anything. Yeah.
So it's your first trimester completed?
Yes, with truck driving. Yeah, we changed the daily schedule a little bit, so we cut some days off the total program. And my instructors they've just been magnificent doing whatever we've asked them to do in regards to that. We all want it to be a great success, and I believe it will be. And I already have had a lot of success with it.
Good. Well, congratulations, Charles. I mean, you worked hard for that.
Yeah, we've been our exclusive truck driving school here for a while. but yeah, I like to see a plan work out.
It does, and those are really good paid jobs, and we appreciate all the help that you've done to get this project going, and you know, we've been behind it, not pushing as much as coaching.
That's good.
We're glad that it's all worked out. Ronnie, what's debt works? I know we've got several different things going.
Yeah, and I told you that project that's got the right of first refusal. He's doing his due diligence on everything, with TVAs, and I think he's going to meet Patrick, talk about the natural gas. And then Michael submitted Phipps Bend on a project yesterday. It's a European project, and I just sent you all the information there. And they may come and look somewhere next week, so I don't know exactly what all the details on it are. Another thing, we all read a lot about regionalism, and our board is meeting Monday, special call meeting to discuss everything again, and hopefully come to some agreement on everything. I don't, the board's open for collaboration with the regional hub and all that, always have been. I don't think there's support there to resolve networks and roll them in there, so. But I think we'll try to resolve that Monday. It's taken up a lot of time, Clay's time especially.
Yeah. Well, I saw one project that everybody's getting behind was the airport.
That's a perfect thing for them to
It's
do.
a perfect thing.
Trying to get a flight to Chicago. They had one years ago.
Yeah.
So that's two decent looks at Phipps Bend.
Yeah. Sounds good. Like I said, we've got some things going that we just, I understand if I was investing in a business and gonna move into another state or another country, that it's a long drawn out process, and that's what we're dealing with 2 or 3 projects right now. We just seem to, they're right on the verge, and we just can't, you can't push people like that. They've got their own mind, and most of those people are pretty knowledgeable on business and what's going on, so we just kind of let them do their own thing. And if they ask for information, we're available to help them make the decision, so just bear with us on some of these things. Like I say, I'm glad to see Gary come in. They've had a real exciting time and nice for us.
You act up, you're out.
It's been a rough couple of months.
What else is going on down there besides,
Well, we did finish up. I guess I'll start with that. We finished up Friday. We Sunday died, I guess, about 7 o'clock down there. The sad thing, I guess, is that we've done a lot of good things this year as far as we balance our budget. We always do that. The budget this year was about 56.2, and you can always, you can kind of see where your priorities are when you start cracking that budget open to see what's actually, being funded in there. Everything from, when you look at education, you look at healthcare, you look at transportation, that was probably the big 3 that we really prioritized this year. And even the TCATs, $1 billion are going toward TCATs this year for capital projects. That's huge. That's a huge investment for the state. The Transportation Modernization Act, it passed, it'll pump about $300 million into the state aid program, so spread across the state, of course. So that's huge for our state aid programs here for the highway funds, and especially in the 9th district. So that's something that I'm certainly proud of. Another $3 billion to help jumpstart other projects in transportation. So that's a really big deal. Of course, the big thing on everybody's mind is school security. We did a lot. We're actually funding now an SRO officer in every school. So schools that have had to split SROs, now they'll be able to have their own. Of course, it's going to be interesting to kind of find the manpower, but that's not going to be a problem anymore as far as how you're going to fund it. So every school has funding coming for an SRO. The other thing that we did, there's always been a safety fund for public schools. We bumped that from $20 million up to $40 million. Private schools, we went from, the governor proposed $7 million for private schools. We bumped that up to 14. So we have really, done what we could to try to make sure that we keep schools safe. And the other thing that's interesting is every county, all 95 counties, are going to get one Homeland Security agent. go into that county to work along with the schools to make sure that there's just communications across the state, not only across the state, but in the county as well. So you'll have that one person, and he's not over the schools by any stretch of the imagination, the sheriff's department, the school system, the SROs, but they'll work kind of a liaison to share resources with the state to make sure that they have everything they need. As we talk about school plans, and as we start looking at, a lot of these schools, I mean, when they were built back in the 60s, 70s, many of them, it's easy access. There's windows. I just think about my school, how many windows there are around that bottom rung. And I mean, doors, we've done a pretty good job of making sure the doors are stabilized and secured, but now we got to make sure the rest of the schools are. And so that $40 million will go a long way to kind of get it started. We know that's just the tip of the iceberg there. That's certainly been one of the biggest conversations that have been going on here lately, of course, down there. When you look at economic development, of course, all those funds have been secured. There was nothing cut there. As a matter of fact, there was some more money added. And when you look at for the rural development funds, they're all there. My numbers just left me. I think we added $10 million to that rural fund that the governor proposed in his budget. And so it's a really solid budget. We also were able to put $250 million in a rainy day fund, which will put us up about over $1 billion in rainy day. Also our OPEB fund, other public employee benefits, we shored that up by about $300 million. TCRS, we shored that up another $250 million. So we're putting money. We know that the economy, we're starting to see it slow down now. So the state is in really good financial position. Coming out of COVID, Tennessee was ranked #1 in fiscal stability. That's a big deal right there. And so this budget will help us to continue that conservative budgeting and hopefully to continue the trajectory that we've seen the state on. And so lots of good things coming out of there. You may not have heard all the good things. Things like the bad has certainly made the TV. But Tennessee is still, we're still leading the nation in what we're doing, with our budgeting, which allows us to do a lot of other things when we talk about those priorities that I mentioned at the very beginning. So I'm very proud of that point right there. And of course, I can always answer any questions you may have. But glad to be back. Of course, the governor's talking about a special call session that I've not gotten word when that'll be. I've heard it could be May, and now I'm hearing it could not be May. So you know about as much as I do at this point. But certainly, again, it's good to be back, good to be here, and certainly thank you all for all the good work that you all do. Thank you.
Jerry, thank you for the job you do for us down there. He's always available anytime we let him call. If he's not available right then, he'll certainly call you back quickly, and I'm sure